This is a quick video about staying home and eating your lawn. I'm Charlie Hudson, and you are watching Reanderthal. A lot of us are stuck at home these days. Some of us are lucky enough to be stuck somewhere with a lawn, and many of us have lots of cardboard boxes. So one of the things I'm going to talk about is using cardboard as a mulch to help turn your grass into a growing space. And the other thing I'm going to talk about is a weed that's one of the more nutrient-dense greens that you could find anywhere, and it's growing for free in your lawn. This is a rough example of lasagna mulching. We live in a wet area, and this spot just turns into a lake when we get a heavy rain. So what I did was I took soil from either side and I've mounded it up in the middle, and then we've got various layers. We've got organic material down below. There's plenty of weeds though. So then there's a layer of cardboard, and then there's some seaweed with compost on top of that. Now we're lucky to be able to have access to the seaweed and the compost, but this is probably going to be our last load of compost for a while, what with social distancing. But don't despair, you can do some great things even with just the cardboard. This area doesn't look like much, but what it also doesn't look like is an enormous pile of weeds. For many years, weeds just got thrown here. There was a lot of organic matter to work with. And last year, what I did was just dig up the whole top layer, flip it over, and then put this cardboard down. I didn't do lasagna mulching. I didn't have more material to pile up. I just weighed it down with logs and rocks. And we planted squash here last year, and we got a decent crop of winter squash and zucchini here. Now this bed is going to take some work to get going again this year, but because of this mulch, there's far fewer weeds that we do have to weed. And what I want to draw your attention to right now is this dandelion. I'm removing it from this bed, and next I'm going to eat it. The thesis of Joe Robinson's book, Eating on the Wild Side, is that the closer a vegetable is to its wild form, the more nutrient dense it tends to be. And the logical extension of that is that the pinnacle is the very wild plants that are growing as weeds in your lawn or garden. If you've got garden beds, now is a great time to be weeding them. And now is also a good time to be eating those dandelion greens. They will start to get more bitter as they start to flower. So right now is a great time to be eating them. So we've got a few sets of dandelions that I've harvested here. These dandelions I harvested about half an hour ago from the cold frame, and they've just got rinsed off. These dandelions I harvested 2 or 3 days ago, and I thought I was just going to use the roots. So I made a tea with the roots here, and I'm going to eat those. I boiled them for about 20 minutes or so, and so I've got the infusion here, and I'll probably end up eating the roots in small amounts over the course of several days. But I decided I just threw those in a container, and now I'm going to process them, because I've got some other dandelion greens here that my mother pulled out of her garden, and it looks like she's gone ahead and processed them for me. And because of COVID, I don't want to deal with handling them much at all, so I'm just going to dump them straight out from the bag into the pot. So I figured I would process all of these at the same time, and then we'll eat a few and freeze the rest. So here are those greens. Those are the fresh greens, which I separated from their roots, and I'll make some more tea with those. And then here are those older greens. And probably some of this is edible, but you know what? These are free. I'm just gonna ditch that the mucky looking stuff. So now I've got some water boiling, and I'm gonna get these greens. I'm gonna be careful. I'm doing this with my left hand. I gotta remember to sanitize and wash my hands afterwards. Okay. Spread them out a little bit. And I'm going to get both of these stacks now I've gone and touched everything, so I might have to be careful. Alright, it's been a couple of minutes, maybe 3. Just going to give these a quick stir. And one's underneath. Maybe keep it going another 30 seconds. So here the water with the dandelion roots is boiling. I'm going to turn on the simmer burner and just get that going on here for maybe 20 minutes or half an hour. And over here I've steamed the dandelion greens and I'm letting them cool a bit, and I'm going to put a bunch of them in the freezer, and we'll have a few this afternoon or tonight. So here are the dandelion greens. I'm going to freeze these first, and then I'm going to vacuum seal them. And that's because if I tried to vacuum seal them first, all the juice would come out and prevent the vacuum bag from sealing. Now in here I've got a different weed. Oop. No, that's actually dandelion. Whoops. In here we've got a different weed. This is burdock, and burdock is a biennial, so the first year they make these big roots, and then the second year they're going to put up big stalks and make those burrs that stick on your clothes. Normally I would look to harvest these at the end of the first year when they've stored up all their energy. These ones I've missed, but they've only just started making greens, so this is a fine time to harvest them. They might even be sweeter. I don't have a lot of experience with this, but a lot of roots are sweeter in the spring, or at least parsnips are. Burdock is a vegetable in Japanese cooking. You'll find them much bigger than this weed here. It's called gobo, and it's quite tasty. You look up a gobo recipe and enjoy your first year and or early second year burdocks. And here's one of these burdock roots cleaned off. So here's that burdock, that gobo, cut up. And then I'm going to add some tamari and some mirin and put a lid on it. So now I'm going to add the tamari. And turn this down. And mirin. Put the lid on and let that steam.